Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hey, happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in today and welcome back. How's your week been so far? I mean, it feels like it was just the other day that we had the weekend and we've been busy deep in this week already. If you're joining us on the replay, a big hello to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's wonderful to have you with us. And a big welcome also to my friends at Modern Mom, as we're also streaming to you so that you can stay on top of relevant business and financial news too. Now let's start with the market, let you know how the market closed today. Well, unfortunately, today was kind of a bummer, down all the way across the board. In fact, the Dow closed down 308 points, the Nasdaq down 149 points, and the S&P 500 also down 30 points. The market tanked across the board because many companies are feeling the hit, because we're seeing investors are selling companies who they think would suffer if a global reopening struggle due to the coronavirus pandemic. In fact, you're seeing travel and retail definitely feeling the impact today, as well as airlines, cruise lines, and more being dropped. In fact, the World Health Organization has said that most regions across the globe are seeing an uptick in contagious variant surge. You've probably heard about this already. And in Germany is in fact also going to be extending its current lockdown now until April 18th. And France continues to be in lockdown for another month. And the good news is that the United States continues to administer about 2.5 million COVID-19 vaccines a day, even though cases are still increasing. In fact, now in over 21 states, as more governors have relaxed business restrictions. So certainly a very challenging time. Our fellow Americans were shot and killed at a grocery store in Colorado just yesterday. And Americans were also shot in Georgia recently as well. But today we have someone very special joining us. So I'm excited to introduce Mori. Mori is a purpose coach and the founder and CEO of the 822 Group. After a very successful career in corporate America, Mori realized a critical truth. I love this, that many companies operate without a true sense of purpose, because their leaders don't understand their own higher purpose. I'm thinking many of you can relate to this. She says that many hardened business executives still operate from a place of scarcity and fear rather than alignment with their higher calling. She says they've also lost their connection with their own GPS. So welcome, Mori. Thank you so much for being on the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Winnie. I'm great. It's great to be here with you.
Well, what's going on? How are you doing this pandemic? Where are you joining us from?
I am in Maryland. I'm just 18 miles outside of DC from my home office.
I love it. Well, this is a challenging time. And I think many of us can relate to this. I'm like jump knee deep in this conversation with you because I think it's something that a lot of us have thought about, but I think we'd like to learn more from you. But let's start with a quote. And this one is one I'm hoping some of you might get inspired by. And that is, the quote is, people may not remember exactly what you did or what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. And that's what matters most. So I see a lot of my friends joining on all the different channels. I got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got YouTube. Carlos is on YouTube. It's great to see all of you. I would love to see who you think this quote is from. Is it number one? Is it from Will Smith? Is it from number 2, Sandra Oh? Number 3, Bruce Lee? Number 4, Tony Hsieh? Number 5, Simon Sinek? Or number 6, Maya Angelou? Some really great choices here. I'm excited to see what all of you think. Those of you who are watching, please feel free to jump in and let us know who you think said this quote. I don't know. I feel good about this more. Who do you think?
I hope I'm right, because this is a personal idol of mine, but I think it's Maya Angelou.
That's a great choice. I actually was thinking that too. I love her and all that she shared. But let's see if we have any other choices coming out on social media right now. I know this is a tough one. Carlos, you have an idea? Modern Mom, you have an idea? Well, let me share with you on this one, because I think this is one that, I can see any of our choices here say this, but actually this came from Tony Hsieh, who was former CEO of Zappos, which was sold to Amazon. And as many of you know, we lost Tony not too long ago. but yes, it is a quote from Tony, and it's a big one. I think that's one that we can all relate to. So, more, I would love to hear more about this conversation. I mean, what got you inspired to sort of lead in this area of your expertise?
Yeah, I come from this background of being on the agency side, helping with crisis and change management and big change events like mergers and acquisitions. And, I was always on the side communicating for the brand or for the executive what the benefits were to the customer or to the workforce. And I started to feel like, coming in just to solve the problem, to address the crisis, felt like just treating the symptom. And the more time I spent inside these organizations looking at what was causing these crises or causing this chaos, I always found that it came back to one particular root cause, and that was a misalignment with purpose, whether that was that the brand was misaligned with their purpose, or even more importantly, the leader did not have a clear sense of their own purpose. And so 822 Group really came about as my answer to the root cause, so I could spend my time focusing on what I believe is my purpose, which is really helping big organizations manage chaos by getting aligned with their own purpose.
I love that. So let's talk about this. I mean, what does leading with purpose mean to you? And, you've seen this, you've worked with many executives, but what does that mean to you? And how do you think more leaders could embrace this?
It really means that you understand your why, and that your why has to do with two things. One, the natural things that you're good at, the reason that you are literally put on this planet, means you don't have to try so hard. You have a natural skill set, whether it is as a brand, again, or as a leader, that you have been put here to use for the second part, your highest good and the highest good of others. So purpose always has this two-part equation, that when you're leading with purpose or you're living with purpose, what you are doing is impacting yourself for your very best outcome, and at the same time, creating the very best outcome for your community, for your workforce, for your customer.
I love that. But I'm thinking, Mori, that some business owners and some leaders are going to say, that's great, Mori, but is it profitable, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm a really busy person, they'll say, I get it. Right now, I'm just trying to bring in profitability, get more clients and customers, and get my employees, more productive. Is it profitable?
I have two words for those skeptics, which is cancel culture. There would be no such thing if society and consumers particularly weren't opening their eyes to this need, not only for businesses to be held accountable, but for the brands that they engage with to stand for something. That's what customers are asking for. So I think it used to be a nice to have, and what it's really turned into, and more studies are showing, is a must-have. Consumers are saying they will pay more for brands with purpose. Your workforce is saying that they will stay longer, that they will be more productive, that they will be more innovative if they believe in what you're doing. And more than anything, purpose, when you're aligned with it and you're clear about what it is, it inspires trust. And when people trust you, then they will follow you anywhere, and then they also will defend you when you are going through a crisis. So it builds advocacy around you as a person and you as a brand that is invaluable when you're faced with a reputational issue.
I love that. Yeah, that's powerful. So how did you realize that current business practices lack purpose? Did you do research on this?
It was really from 20 years of experience of getting called in to try to fix problems where senior leadership teams were just completely misaligned. And when you would dig into those leadership teams, you would find out that each of them had a different understanding as to why they were even there. And so that translated to me all of that experience to no one has the answer to why, which why to me equals purpose. So, it really came from this experience of seeing all of this misalignment, and misalignment was creating chaos. It was creating a waste of money, a waste of time. People are spending money on multiple agencies to solve one problem. They're not aligning in meetings, so they're leaving with different remits, and then they're kind of redundant, or they're doing things, that they shouldn't be. So it was just really this chaos that I was noticing being created over and over again, no matter which company I was coming in to assist. And that is kind of my diagnosis as the expert that comes in to fix the problem.
to come to fix the problem. I'm listening to you, Maury, and I'm thinking back. I remember when I first started as a junior financial advisor at Smith Barney. I literally was so just, really young, my early 20s. And you're in this office, you've got a whole bunch of people in the financial industry, which for those of you don't know, it's like truly cutthroat, right? And everybody was so sort of all focus was on this one like board in my manager's office. And it was just a simple clipboard, but he would rank all his financial advisors based on the highest amount of revenue all the way down. So what you didn't like being is at the bottom at that list each and every month. Like all focus was like that. And what it did is it drives a lot of competitiveness, a lot of bad feeling. One day you were number 14, one day you were number 18, one day you're number 12. It just felt like every month you were being judged, and it wasn't a very good feeling. And then it really meant so that the manager, you felt your relationship was determined by that. And really, it just felt like all your manager did was keep track of numbers. There was sort of lacking what you're talking about of having a higher purpose. But when you think of big entities like that, very big companies like that, is it possible for arms of large companies to still have a higher purpose? Because obviously, perhaps the CEO has a higher purpose and the COO, but then you have different branches of your company, different departments. How does that all translate in?
Think about purpose as the glue that connects all the disparate parts of the organization together, and then think about it as the GPS. So now not only is it connected, but everyone is driving in the same direction. So this idea that purpose and profit are opposing forces is a myth. In fact, when you are coming from a place of purpose as an entity connected by purpose, you're actually able to achieve the results you just talked about faster. Now, I will say something about the experience you just talked about, which is being ranked by revenue. I've had a similar experience of being ranked by the dollars that we bring in as account leads on the agency side. And what I can tell you is that is not what inspires great work or inspires loyalty. And so what you see in environments like that is a lot of churn. And when you see a lot of churn, that's when you start to see the mistakes that make the news, that then ruin the reputation of those organizations, because you don't have a workforce that's aligned on something deeper and more powerful. And so they're running around trying to hit these arbitrary numbers without a true sense of why they're doing it, which is what makes people make bad decisions. And that's what creates really negative news.
That's what creates really negative news. That's powerful, Maury. Not only that, I think there needs to be a reason why we're connected. Like Tony Hsieh's quote just earlier is like, I think, and we had just sent interviews not too long ago with employee resource groups, and they said, when I feel like I belong to something bigger than myself, there's more reasons why I want to stay outside of just my paycheck, right? So you're talking about, you've talked about in the agency world, which I know is highly competitive as well. And like you said, there's a lot of churn, right? So you've got great leaders in certain companies being poached to go to competing companies, and it's an ongoing sort of hamster cycle. At what point does it stop? At one point, do you feel whole and appreciated, and that you don't want to go anywhere? Like you see people in these different sports teams, these athletes, right? I did different organizations. You can never write a check big enough, and there's gotta be, like you said, the why. And I love that you said that early on in our conversation. So let's talk about this. So what are your thoughts on spirituality becoming part of a business strategy? I know in most businesses, or at least traditional businesses, it's sort of kept very separate, right? Yeah. Work is work, personal, how you feel, that's sort of encouraged to be kept outside of the workplace. How is that now? What are your feelings?
I think it's important to define spirituality in the context of this conversation, right? Spirituality and religion are not the same thing. If we use the broadest sense of the term spirituality, all that it means is a notion that you're connected to something greater. And so I think that if that is the definition we're going to use, what I will point us all to is that because of the pandemic and because of where we are right now, we are noticing more and more people in society generally looking for those answers. So, people are reporting that the amount of money people are spending on things like astrologists, psychics, alternative medicine, different ways to get those answers and to connect has multiplied exponentially over the last year. So what that tells me is that there is a consumer market out there looking for connection in a higher sense. So again, it's not a should business think about integrating spiritual truths into their practices. It is going to become a demand, because what's happening is society is awakening to this need, awakening to this higher frequency of connection. And if business does not create that connection by getting there themselves, then that's when you start to see disruptors emerge and take over, because they understand where the market is at. So what I would say is that, yes, it's easy to dismiss it as, hoo-ha, but if you're really going to follow where the market is going, then take a look at what consumers are looking at. And right now, they're looking at answers. They're looking for something that has greater meaning. And so a business, go ahead.
No, please go. Okay, I love this.
I was just going to say, a business embodying spiritual truth really just is about three things. It's about understanding purpose. It's about understanding connection to themselves, to each other, to something bigger, to the community. And it's about espousing love. It's about understanding love, that you love what you're putting out there, that you love the people you're making it for, and that you love the people that are doing that work with you. And those are the three ancient spiritual truths that we're talking about when we talk about integrating spirituality and business. And it's that simple.
It sounds simple, but it also sounds challenging. And I think I would love for you to give us an example. Like, you work with many business leaders and whatnot. So if a business leader is watching and are saying, and they want to create a more empathetic, purpose-driven environment, what's one thing that you think they could maybe think about things differently or try something with their workplace? Obviously, now many companies are working virtually. What's something that they can put to action, that they can try to really spark their thinking in this direction?
Two really great things to start with. First is always yourself. Get really curious about yourself. What blocks do you have yourself from your own purpose? Are you showing up there and leading with your why fully? Are you fully connected? Do you really love what you do? Do you love the people that you're doing it for? And make sure that the answer to those things is yes. And if the answer is no, or you feel lost or confused, please know that the rest of your team and your community can feel that. So find a resource to help be that flashlight and help you get reunited with that higher version of yourself, so you can lead from an inspirational place. The second is to start to bring your leaders together and have really inspiring workshops and conversations about purpose, connection, and love. And there's lots of ways of doing it. Obviously, this is what we do, but really it's about bringing leadership together to talk about, why are we here? What unique talents and skills do you each have that are being fulfilled through this role? Do you understand your unique purpose and how that ties to this brand? Do you understand what our community needs? How can we be working to really elevate everyone around us in addition to making money? Or is our only strategy revenue? If that's the answer, then you need to start a conversation with your leadership team, but it starts with yourself.
I love it. So basically, there needs to be a lot more communication outside of the typical work jobs, right? We got to go a little bit deeper than we normally do, I think, on Zoom and everything else. I love this. Yeah. Well, Mori, where can people go to learn more about you and obviously your company?
Well, definitely follow me at Instagram at Mori Fontanez. I share a lot of these things via video and my IG Live, and we have these conversations where we get into detail with leaders a lot about this. And you can also find us at 822 Group, which is our website, and we talk about our services and all the ways that we come in to help either manage chaos or create enlightenment for businesses that are ready to operate at a different frequency.
I love that. Manage chaos.
Yeah.
Mori, you have your work cut out for you, but I'm excited to see you lead in the charge. But let's have some fun right now, because we're going to have a little bit of a speed round with you.
Okay.
I'm asking a tough question because I know that you will be able to handle this one. And that is, if you were to start your business again tomorrow from scratch now, Mori, and you get one hiring wish, you don't need to worry about finances, about income, about benefits or anything. Who's one person anywhere in the world who you would hire and why?
I would hire a branding genius that understands exactly what it is that our purpose is and is able to position in a way that really captures attention. I really think that those people are hard to find. I've worked with a few of them. I won't name them here, so I don't look like I'm poaching, but I would hire a branding genius for sure.
Oh, I love it. Well, you're right. Branding geniuses are very hard to find. They're like unicorns, but they are out there, and I love that. Well, maybe they will cross your desk very, very soon. Second question for you, Mori, is what's the best personal decision that you've made during the pandemic?
Wow. I think it's to really integrate my business with my children and my family and my fiance and just balance it and try to find time to enjoy them during moments where I used to think it was work hours, right? Just going downstairs at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and having a snack with my son, or going for a walk with my daughter in the middle of the day when she has a break, is just really taking every moment that I have to be home to be really present.
I love that. I love that. I actually went around 11 o'clock, went downstairs to see my little ones too. And it made it makes the day so special. It really does. It's going to be, when we all go back to work and they go back to school, it's going to be a different time for sure. Well, Mori, I can't tell you how much we appreciate this conversation, how much I've enjoyed getting to know you and speaking to you. So a big thank you to you. And of course, a big thank you to our friends at 777. It's great to have you on the show. We appreciate you so much. And certainly, definitely check out Mori on Instagram. I think you're going to love all the things that she shares each and every day. And the joy continues, because I want to invite all of you to join me at 3:30 Pacific or 6:30 if those of you on the East Coast today on Twitter Spaces, as Level Up Live invites you to the conversation. If you follow me on Twitter, you're going to be able to see Twitter Spaces conversation right on your Twitter app on your phone. So if you don't, make sure to go on Twitter on your phone and follow at Winnie Sun. Plug in your headphones or put me on speaker, whatever works better for you, and join in and listen in as we continue a supportive and empowering conversation today on hashtag Stop Asian Hate. So coming together, sharing where love trumps hate for sure. So thank you so much for watching, getting to know Mori as well, and supporting our program. Please take a moment to share this show. And as a reminder, you can find full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Be well, and I can't wait to see you once again tomorrow. Take care now.